1. Introduction. My name is Paula. I am a woman who is 48 years old. I live in a large city. My life is usually very simple and quiet. I have a job in an office downtown. I work very hard every week. I often work long hours. Sometimes I must work late into the evening. Because of all the work, I am always tired. The tiredness is heavy, but the worst feeling is loneliness. I feel very lonely. When I look in the mirror, I feel like I am invisible. Nobody seems to notice me anymore. I feel like a machine that only works, eats, and sleeps. I wanted to stop this feeling. I wanted to feel like a real person again. I needed a change. It was a Friday. The week was finally finished. I left the office building when the sky was dark. I looked at the streetlights. Usually I go straight home. But that night I stopped walking. I looked at a building nearby. It was a bar. I thought for a moment. I said to myself, Paula, you need to relax. I decided to go inside. The door was heavy. I opened it and stepped inside. The air was warm. The music was playing loudly, but it was good music. The lights were low and red. Many people were talking and laughing. I walked to the bar counter. I asked for a drink. The bartender was busy. I found a small table in the corner. I sat down alone with my drink. I watched the people dance. I watched the couples talk closely. I felt a little nervous, but also a little excited. I felt the noise of the bar around me. It made me feel less lonely for a moment. I wanted to feel alive. I wanted to feel the energy of the world. I finished my first drink slowly. I ordered another one. I sat there for a long time. I was just Paula, a woman alone in a bar. I did not know that this simple decision to stop for one drink was the start of something big. I did not know that tonight, this Friday night, my life would change completely. I did not know that I would meet someone. I meet someone. I sat alone with my drink. The music was loud, but I felt quiet inside. Then a young man walked over to my table. He stood next to me and smiled. His eyes were very bright and friendly. He asked if he could sit down. I nodded my head yes. He pulled a chair close to mine. He introduced himself immediately. His name was Sam, and he told me he was 22 years old. I felt a big difference in our ages, but I did not say anything. Sam was very confident. He did not seem nervous to talk to me at all. He looked right at me and said, "You look very beautiful tonight." I was very surprised by his words. I laughed a little because I felt shy. I had not heard a compliment like that in many years. Usually, I felt invisible when I went out. I was a tired woman who worked hard, but tonight, Sam made me feel seen. We started to talk about the music and the people in the bar. Sam was bold and playful. He asked me questions about my life. He listened carefully when I answered. He bought me another drink, and we continued talking easily. He leaned closer to me when he spoke. He was flirting with me, and I knew it. My feelings were mixed. I felt shy because he was so young and attractive, but mostly I felt a deep excitement. My heart began to beat faster. I had not felt this happy or this alive in a long time. For many years, I only thought of my work and my routine. Now, I thought of myself. I felt like a woman again, not just a worker. Sam continued to talk about things that made me laugh. He told me stories that were funny and interesting. He kept his eyes focused on me. I enjoyed the attention very much. I forgot that I was 48 years old. I forgot my problems and my loneliness. I only focused on the moment, on Sam's smile, and on the loud music. He touched my hand quickly when he laughed at something I said. It was a small touch, but it made me blush. The night was changing fast. It was no longer just a simple Friday night at a bar. It was becoming a special night. I wanted it to continue. I wanted to keep feeling this wonderful excitement for longer. I smiled back at him. I felt ready for whatever would happen next. 3. A special dance. Sam looked at me with his bright eyes. He asked me to dance. I felt nervous, but I stood up quickly. The music was loud and fast. Sam took my hand and led me to the middle of the room. There were many people dancing close together. He pulled me very close to him. I could feel his body near mine. His hand rested on my waist. It felt strong and warm. I had not been this close to a man in many years. I tried to look away, but I could not. I kept looking at Sam's face. I started to blush. My cheeks were very hot. He leaned down toward my ear. He whispered something, but the music was too loud to hear his words clearly. I just smiled. Then the music seemed to slow down just for a moment. Sam stopped moving. He looked deeply into my eyes. The lights of the bar seemed to disappear. It was only Sam and me. He kissed me. It was a long kiss. It happened right there, in the middle of the moving crowd. I felt my heart jump high into my throat. It was beating so quickly. I forgot everything about my normal life. I forgot my job, my office, and the long hours I worked every week. I forgot that I was 48 years old. In that moment, I felt young and powerful. I felt alive, just like I had wanted to feel when I first came to the bar. Sam's kiss made me feel like a teenager again. It was a feeling of wild excitement and freedom. We stopped kissing, but we stayed close. My breathing was fast. I knew I should stop this, but I did not want to. I looked around the bar one last time. I did not want to return to my lonely life outside of this room. I whispered an idea in his ear. I said, "Let us get out of here." Sam smiled a wide smile. It was a smile that was both sweet and a little bit dangerous. He did not ask where we were going. He did not ask what would happen next. He simply nodded his head once. He took my hand again. We walked quickly through the crowd and toward the front door. The cool night air felt good on my hot face. We left the loud music and the warm lights behind us. We were alone now. The night was just beginning. I knew this might be a big mistake, but I did not care. I felt too excited to worry about tomorrow. I wanted this feeling to last forever. I looked at Sam walking beside me. He was 22 years old, and he made me feel like I was 22 too. We walked together down the dark street. For a night to remember. We left the bar together. We walked quickly through the streets toward my apartment. The air was cool and quiet. We did not talk much on the way, but we held hands tightly. I felt a nervous excitement. This moment felt like a dream, not my real life. We arrived at my small apartment and went inside. The door closed behind us, and the world outside disappeared. Inside, everything felt different. We continued to kiss, and we laughed a lot. I felt happy and very alive. I forgot about my difficult job. I forgot about being 48 years old. I forgot all my usual fears and all the strict rules I lived by. Sam made me feel young again. He looked at me like I was the only woman in the world. This feeling was powerful and completely new to me. I had not felt this way for many, many years. We talked for a long time about simple things. We shared stories until we were tired. Then we went to sleep. Sam slept beside me. His hand rested softly on my arm. I felt safe and calm for the first time in a very long time. I closed my eyes and smiled. I did not think about the future or the consequences. For a few short hours, I was truly free from my lonely life. I did not worry about anything. The night passed much too fast. Soon the morning arrived. The sun started to shine brightly through the windows. The warm light filled the room. I looked at Sam, who was still sleeping soundly next to me. He looked so peaceful, like a young boy. I started to feel a little worried about the situation, but I tried to push the feeling away. I told myself that this was just one night and everything would be fine. Then I heard a sound. It was the distinct sound of a key turning in the front door lock. My body immediately froze. That sound was very familiar. It was my daughter's key. My heart started to beat very, very fast. My daughter was supposed to be away for the whole weekend. Why was she home now? I had not thought about this possibility. I had not made a plan for this moment. I looked at Sam, who was still deep asleep. Panic quickly filled the room, making it hard to breathe. I knew I was in very big trouble. I quickly sat up in the bed. I needed to move fast. The front door was opening now. My heart stopped completely. 5, my daughter is home. I heard the key turn in the lock and I felt immediate panic. My heart stopped beating for a second. I knew my daughter was home early. I quickly pushed Sam into the large closet in my bedroom. I closed the door very fast. I heard my daughter call my name. She said, "Mom, are you awake?" I tried to look normal. I walked slowly toward the door of the apartment. My hands were shaking, and I tried to hide them behind my back. My daughter came inside. She put her heavy bag on the floor near the sofa. She looked happy to be home. She started to walk toward my bedroom. I needed to stop her. The closet door was closed, but Sam was hiding right there. I quickly said, "Wait, do you want some hot coffee or tea?" She stopped and looked at me. She said no, but she needed to find a book she left on my desk. She started walking again. I moved my body to block the doorway. I felt sweat on my forehead. She looked confused, so she left the room for a moment to look for the book in the kitchen. This was my only chance. I opened the closet door just a little bit. I whispered to Sam, "You must go now. Go very quietly through the front door." Sam nodded his head. He looked calm, not scared. He smiled at me, and he started to move past me toward the exit. I thought the problem was over. But then he stopped near the door. He looked back at me with a strange look. He whispered something that made my blood run cold. He said, "Your daughter is cute too." My face burned instantly. I felt terrible anger and deep shame at the same time. I pointed at the door with my finger. I told him, "Stay away from me. Do not come back." I pushed him out of the apartment quickly and locked the door 2 times. I leaned against the door for a long time. I could not move. This feeling was not the excitement from the night before. It was shame for my mistake. I felt bad for my daughter, who was still in the kitchen. I went to the kitchen and pretended to be calm. She looked up and asked if everything was okay. I just smiled and said yes. I tried to look normal again, but I knew I was wearing a mask. I knew I had made a big, dangerous mistake. I hoped he would forget me and this morning forever. 6. The problem starts. The next day was Saturday. I felt tired and very nervous. I kept thinking about the night before. I felt a lot of shame because of Sam. I also felt fear about my daughter finding out. I wanted to forget the whole night. I wanted everything to be normal again, but I could not forget what happened. In the afternoon, my doorbell rang. I opened the door slowly. It was Sam. I looked around quickly. I did not want the neighbors to see him standing there. He looked happy, but his eyes were not warm. He did not talk about the bar or the night we spent together. He only talked about money. He said, "I need some money now." I felt very confused and guilty. I thought, if I give him money, he will leave me alone. I went to my purse and gave him some cash. It was not a lot of money, but it was all I had nearby. I told him, "Take this. Now please go and do not come back here again." He took the money quickly. He gave me a small, cold smile and walked away. But Sam did not go away forever. He came back to my apartment the next week. He came back again the week after that. Every time he asked for more money. I started to feel very angry, but also more scared each time. I tried to tell him no more, but he would not listen to me. He started to change his words. His words became threats. One Tuesday, he came back again. I did not let him inside the door. He looked very serious this time. He said, "Paula, you must give me what I need today." I shook my head and said, "I do not have more money for you." He leaned close to the door so only I could hear. He whispered, "If you do not give me the money, I will tell your daughter everything." My breath stopped in my chest. He knew my greatest fear. He knew I was afraid of losing my daughter's love and trust. He knew I was afraid of people judging me for my mistake. This was blackmail. The problem truly started now. I felt trapped like a small animal in a cage. I could not sleep at night. I lay in the dark and thought only of Sam. I thought of his demands and his terrible smile. Every time my phone rang, I jumped with fear. Every time someone knocked on the door, I felt panic. I was scared of him. I was scared of the secret. The secret felt too heavy for me to carry alone. I knew I could not continue to live like this. I had to stop the fear, but I did not know how. It had been only 2 weeks since I met Sam, but it felt like 2 long years. My life was breaking because of one bad decision. 7, I tell the truth. I could not continue living with the secrets. The fear was too much. Every day, Sam called or sent a message. He wanted more money. I gave him money, but the fear did not leave. I felt trapped and very tired. I told many lies to my daughter. The lies were small, but they made the distance between us big. I knew I had to stop the lies. The truth was the only way to be free from Sam and from the constant worry. This was the hardest choice I had to make. One night, my daughter was sitting in the living room. She was watching television. I sat down next to her on the sofa. My heart was beating fast. I could feel my hands shaking. I looked at her face. I felt deep shame for keeping this secret for so long. I opened my mouth, but no sound came out at first. I tried again. I took a deep breath and began to speak. I started from the beginning. I told her about going to the bar that Friday night. I told her about meeting Sam. I told her about the dance and the kiss. I told her about bringing him back to the apartment. I spoke slowly, trying to find the right words. I told her about the morning when she came home and how I hid Sam in the closet quickly. This part was hard to say. Then I told her about the terrible thing Sam was doing now. I told her that he was threatening me. I explained that he asked for money again and again. I told her what he said. "I will tell your mother everything." My voice started to shake badly. I could not stop the tears. I cried because of the fear and the shame of my mistake. I expected her to stand up and scream at me. I thought she would be angry at me for being foolish, but she did not scream. She stayed quiet for a long time. She listened to every word I said. When I finished, she looked at me. Her expression was serious, but she was not angry at me. She was angry at Sam for hurting me. She said, "Mom, that man is terrible. We must stop him." She moved closer to me on the sofa. She put her arms around me and held me tight. I felt a great relief in that moment. She hugged me and whispered, "You are safe now, Mom. You are not alone in this." The heavy weight that I carried for weeks finally started to lift. The truth felt painful, but it was also a gift. I knew then that together we were strong enough to face him. 8. The lesson ends. The next day was difficult. I felt nervous all morning. I knew Sam would try to come back. My daughter was with me. She was strong and calm. She waited with me in the living room. We heard a knock at the door. It was Sam. He opened the door without waiting for me to answer. He smiled a bad smile, like he thought he owned the house. He thought he could still scare me. But this time, things were different. My daughter stood up fast. She was tall and brave. She walked quickly to Sam. I saw the anger in her eyes. It was a strong fire. I stayed quiet behind her. I felt safe because she was there. My daughter started to speak. She did not whisper. She yelled at him. Her voice was loud and sharp. "Stop," she said. "You must stop this now. You need to leave us alone." Sam looked completely shocked. He did not expect to see her. He did not expect her to speak. His bad smile disappeared from his face. He tried to laugh, but the sound was nervous and weak. He looked at me, then back at my daughter. He saw that he had lost. His game was over. "Go now," my daughter demanded. "Never come back to this apartment. Never call my mother again." Sam did not say anything more. He knew he could not win against both of us. He looked down at the floor. He walked away slowly. He looked humiliated and small. The loud sound of the door closing was the best sound I had heard in months. When the door was closed, I finally felt air rush back into my body. I took a deep breath. I had been holding my breath for many weeks, filled with fear. My daughter turned around and looked at me. She did not need to speak. I knew what she meant. I felt many things. I felt ashamed of my mistake with Sam. I knew it was a terrible choice, but I also felt a deep pride. I was proud that I had faced the truth. I was proud that I had told my daughter everything. We sat together on the sofa. We did not talk much, but we were close. The silence felt good, not scary. I understood something very important that day. I learned a lesson. I realized that keeping secrets is like planting seeds of fear. Secrets grow into fear, and fear grows into heavy chains that hold you down. But the truth is strong. The truth is a key. It can break those chains. My daughter's love and the truth had set me free from Sam and my own fear. I was ready to start a new life. I would remember this lesson always.